Okay, let's dive into this. What if I told you the absolute best way to win an argument was to actually lose it on purpose? Today, we're going to break down a pretty fascinating, maybe slightly controversial technique for getting what you really want out of any disagreement. It's called the cookie jar strategy. I know, right? It sounds completely backward. I mean, our first instinct in any fight is to dig our heels in, prove our point, and walk away the winner. But what if that exact instinct is the one thing that's stopping us from getting the outcome we actually want? This strategy, well, it asks us to flip that whole script on its head. And that leads us right to the core paradox of this whole idea, winning by losing. It feels like it shouldn't make sense, but really getting your head around this mental shift, that's the first step to making this work. Just think about the last argument you had. I bet you were focused on laying out all your facts, building this perfect logical case, all to get the other person to finally say, okay, you're right. That's how we're taught to argue. But what if winning the argument itself isn't the real prize? So, this brings us to the strategy itself. Let's get into it. What in the world is this cookie jar we keep talking about? So here it is, the official definition. And the key here isn't just giving in. No way. It is a very specific move. You strategically lose the surface level fight by apologizing for the situation and validating their feelings, all to get a much bigger prize. See, it's about being strategic, not submissive. And this is the heart of it all. The argument, that's not the goal. The cookie is. And that cookie can be anything, right? It could be getting to pick the restaurant for dinner, getting your partner to help with the dishes, or making a huge decision at work. The argument is just the messy obstacle standing between you and that real-world outcome. Okay, so how do you actually do this, in the heat of the moment? It sounds kind of complicated, but honestly, it all boils down to a really simple two-step method. All right, pay close attention to step one, because the wording here is absolutely crucial. You're not saying, I'm sorry, you were right and I was wrong. You're saying something like, hey, I'm sorry this got so heated, or I'm sorry this whole situation is so frustrating. Then for step two, you immediately follow up with, I totally get why you're upset, or you have every right to feel that way. You're not agreeing with their facts, you're just acknowledging their feelings. Big difference. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Come on, this sounds way too simple. There's no way that actually works. But its power is all based on some really fascinating and, frankly, very basic human psychology. So let's talk about why this strategic surrender is just so effective. Winning through submission. Just let that phrase sink in for a second. It's so good. By choosing to step back from the fight, you, in a very weird way, actually take control of it. You're not reacting to them anymore. You are now setting the emotional tone for everything that happens next. Think about it. When someone comes at you ready for a fight, they expect you to push back. They're braced for it. But when you apologize and validate them instead, you completely disarm them. You pull the rug out from under them. Their anger has nowhere to go. And just like that, the whole conflict de-escalates. Suddenly, it's not about right versus wrong anymore. It's about connecting over a feeling, and that is a much, much more productive place to be. Ultimately, using a strategy like this, it requires you to completely change your perspective. It really forces you to redefine what a win even looks like in the first place. Just look at the difference here. A normal argument, it's a battle of egos. It's all about facts and logic, and the only goal is to prove you're right. The cookie jar strategy completely changes the game. Your focus shifts from facts to feelings, and your goal, it shifts from being right to getting the actual outcome you want. It's about being effective, not just being correct. So you really have to choose what's more important to you. Do you want that fleeting moment of satisfaction that comes from winning the fight? Or do you want the cookie, the actual thing you were fighting for? This strategy is all about prioritizing that real goal over your ego in the moment. But this whole idea, this whole strategy, it leaves us with one final and, I think, very important question that we need to think about. I mean, on one hand, it's a brilliant tool for de-escalation that puts emotional connection first. That seems pretty advanced, right? But on the other hand, you are validating someone's feelings with the specific goal of getting something you want. Is that just a really clever form of manipulation? The answer? Well, it probably depends on your intention and, of course, the cookie. Definitely something to think about.